What's going on, everybody? It's DJ House with WQTS Digital Radio. And you know, I always like to speak with someone from the community. And today we have Denise Rowson with the Durham CDF Freedom Schools. How you doing?
I'm doing great, House. How you doing?
I'm glad you came in today.
Oh, I'm glad you brought me in.
Yeah. What is CDF Freedom Schools?
Well, the Children's Defense Fund is a nationwide program that advocates for children. The founder of CDF, of Children's Defense Fund, is Marian Wright Edelman. So if you know a little bit, she was involved in the civil rights movement back in the 60s. And out of this, because Freedom Schools initially started by helping people in Mississippi teach them how to vote. You know, because a lot of them were illiterate and didn't know how to pass the test. So that's kind of how Freedom Schools came about. So she evolved this program for children that has a basis in literacy, but also has social justice and all of that involved in the program.
Why do we need the program?
Oh, we so need this program, House. We kind of came together and the Mount Level Community Partnership for Racial Justice back, because this is our third year. We decided that our kids were not getting the education that they needed, and because of the COVID-19 pandemic, we saw that our kids were falling behind, especially in their reading and their science and their math skills. So we decided back in 2022, through the partnership, that we were going to provide a program that was going to help our kids academically, you know, with their reading, provide STEM activities for them, and give them a little touch of social justice so they are empowered to know that they can make a difference in their community, even as children and youth. And I need to add, we added an A in there too, so it's really STEAM, because one of the things that we also offer, we offer kids the arts.
All right.
So they get a chance to go to concerts, and we invite musicians and all those kinds of community people in the program so that they get a touch of their culture.
I like that.
Mm-hmm.
So do you have any kids in it that play instruments and do performances?
No, we don't have any. Last year we did a middle school program, and that was kind of the first. I mean, they do a little dancing, they do a little spoken word. But no, you know, that's kind of basically it, is that we invite people in so that they can be exposed to it. So, you know, we've had Hispanic music, African drumming, you know, we've had all those kinds of programs come in and provide that for our kids, and the kids absolutely love it. Yeah.
I love some salsa.
Oh, yes. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I love some salsa. How long has the program been in operation?
We've been in operation. This is our third year. We started in 2023 with children ages in grades K through 5 through Durham Public Schools. So we wanted to concentrate specifically on Durham Public School kids, because those are the kids that need the services in this community. So we served about 50 in our first year. Last year, we were able to provide a middle school program at Shepherd Middle School, along with our elementary program at Epworth United Methodist Church. Unfortunately, we don't have the funding to do the middle school program this year, but we're hoping in 2026 that we can bring back middle school and continue with the elementary level program.
What do you do with the adults?
Well, we've got some different levels of adults. One of the things that I love about the program is that we hire college students during the summer. So it's kind of a summer camp kind of setting, but it's really kind of intensive in literacy, and the kids are reading fantastic books that they can relate to, that are kind of based on our themes. And our themes are basically is that they're empowered to make changes to themselves, to their family, to their community, and to their world. And our young people, you know, we call them SLIs, servant leader interns. They go through special training, both locally and in Knoxville, Tennessee. They got to go to a week of training in Knoxville, Tennessee in June, and they learn how to implement this curriculum that is just so fantastic. So we invite college students, we invite volunteers, you know, to come in and be read aloud guests, and I can talk about that, you know, a little bit later. But we have different levels of people who come in and volunteer and all of that. So yeah, and then we of course the wonderful thing is we invite parents. We really encourage parents and families to come in and be involved in the program, because they should have a say in in what's going on in their child's education. And we try to provide them on family nights, which is one night every week. We pick a topic, that oftentimes they may choose to talk about things that they need to know about financial literacy, about their child's education, about home. We've had home ownership workshops. So we involve all the adults that are in their lives. We try to get them involved in the program. And on family night, we provide childcare and we provide dinner, so parents don't have any excuse, that they can't come. So we really encourage our families to get involved.
I like that.
Yeah.
No excuse. I'll be there. They're gonna take care of the babysitter.
Yeah, we're gonna feed you. And yeah, we give them dinner.
Babysitter and some food.
Yes.
You can't beat that.
You can't beat it with a stick.
Now, how long have you been with the program, and what pulled you into the program?
Well, I'm a retiree of Durham Public Schools.
Mm-hmm.
So during the summers of 2013 through 2015, I helped to manage the Freedom School program that was sponsored by Durham Public Schools. Yeah, Durham Public Schools for 3 years had this program. Unfortunately, because of funding, they didn't continue it after 2015. So I kind of made it a vow, because I love the program house. I love it. I got the serious bug for Freedom Schools. So after I retired in 2019, I made up my mind that I was going to find some money, something out here so that we could keep Freedom Schools going. So I ended up getting my buddy, Miss Alicia Albright, who is now the executive director of Durham Freedom Schools, and we're doing this thing together. So that's what we've been doing. So this is our 3rd year doing Freedom Schools here in Durham.
Tell me how it's working, how has it impacted people?
Oh, yes. It is just a wonderful experience for our kids. We're trying to get our kids to understand that they have power, because oftentimes we don't let them know that. And, for example, we have a week of social justice every single summer. And you would be surprised at the Conversations House, that the kids, we've had conversations around gun violence, around last year we did book banning. We have a lot of various kinds of topics that, we're encouraged, we're mandated to talk to them and get involved in. And then we invite community people in, to talk about it. Just like year before last, we had Mayor Leonardo Williams. He came in and talked to the kids about, issues around gun violence that are happening here in Durham. And the kids are so involved. You oftentimes don't think that kids are listening to all these different conversations about voting and gun violence, all this stuff that's happening, but they are. And they have opinions, because a lot of them get touched. Kids will share that they've had a relative or someone who they lost to gun violence, and they have ideas about what we can do to change it. So there's so many things. And like I said, we involve them in STEAM. So we try to get our kids, because our kids don't get enough science. They don't get enough math. They don't get, enough of the arts. So we made it a concerted effort to expose them, for that, to the various arts. The American Dance Festival gives us free tickets every single year so that kids can go to a dance festival concert. And we know that some kids have never, ever been to an American Dance Festival, but, through them, we're able to send kids to that. So there's a lot of experiences. We have a partnership with the Museum of Life and Science, where Max Cawley and his team come in and expose the kids to all kinds of science experiments and all kinds of things around science. So there is so many things. We have two Duke students, Lee and Fong, who come in and do the Math 24 program, so that, because we know that our kids need more math, but they do it in a fun way. At the beginning of the summer, we test them, in their reading to see where they are, because we want to see an increase, especially in their reading skills, and how you would not believe how much better the kids are reading only after 6 weeks, because then we post-test them. And no one, we've never had a child who has who has experienced summer loss, but we've always had kids who will either maintain their reading level or they do better. And sometimes it's up to 2 and 3 years. I don't know why, but the data shows that these kids do extremely well during those 6 weeks of Freedom Schools.
So we got results.
We got results. We got data. We got data. Yes, we do.
We're going to provide y'all with the website and everything, so y'all going to look that good stuff up.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
We got results.
We have results. Every single year, we've had results. First of all, the program is free. Okay, so parents love that, because in this day and time to find a free, quality summer camp, is a challenge. So the program is free, for those 6 weeks. And also the servant leader interns. We have returning servant leader interns, those college students who enjoy the program so much until they want to come back and work, for other years. So everyone kind of benefits, from our program, and the community is just really involved, with Book Harvest, with Museum of Life and Science, with Triangle E-Cycling. Larry Hurst over there gives us free computers, laptops that we give out to the kids every summer, for kids who don't have it. So we just do great things with our kids.
I'm loving it.
Yes, and that's why we need more than one program. I know it's a challenge because it's a free program and you have to do your own fundraising, but we need more than Durham. Right now, Greensboro has a lot of programs, maybe about 5. Winston-Salem, has more than one program. I think Rocky Mount does have one, but there is only one Freedom School program in Durham. So I am hoping that community organizations and churches, even if they come together and pull their resources together, will consider doing a Freedom School, because our kids desperately do need it in this day and time.
You said you wanted more programs in Durham?
Yes, we need more.
So how many, if you had the money, what would be a good number?
I would say I would love to see at least 2 middle school programs, and then an elementary school program in each corner of the county, north, south, east, and west, and 2 middle schools. So if we could do anywhere between 4 and 6, programs additionally, that would be fantastic. And like I said, programs, I know $100,000 may sound a lot, but if churches kind of come together, or organizations come together and pool their resources, then that money, can be raised. So it's not impossible, because like I said, this is our 3rd year, and we struggle a little, but it always comes through. So we definitely need more Freedom School programs, and I'd love for Durham Public Schools to be able to get involved, but I know that they're going through some financial difficulties right now. But yeah, we need more Freedom Schools in Durham and throughout the Triangle area.
What feedback are you getting from the parents? What are they saying that you've heard, or they spoke to you directly?
Fantastic feedback. They love the program. We oftentimes get testimonies from parents in our impact report. Where they see a change in their child. Okay, they see them more outgoing, they see them more outspoken. We get the little shy ones who come in and don't want to do a whole lot of talking, but at the end of 6 weeks, they're doing cheers and chants and feeling more confident in reading, and just feel better about it's a self-esteem building kind of program, because you can't sit still. You can't sit still, and you can't be, It just hits you with the cheers and the chants, and the fantastic SLIs, that are mentoring and facilitating them, and doing programs for them. Parents are really satisfied, with the results of how, their children coming through the Freedom School program. Nothing but accolades do we get.
You mentioned the kids are reading books.
Yes, they're reading books.
They're reading books. Do you have any popular books that they like? Or some books that stood out? Okay, there are so many books.
What happens is the Children's Defense Fund chooses the books,
Okay.
from one year to the next, and they provide us with the curriculum. So that's why SLIs have to go to Knoxville, Tennessee in June, because they're introduced to the books, and then they are taught how to present the book. And there's so many ways to present a book, through acting it out, through reading it, so many different ways. So all the SLIs are trained, as to how to implement these books. And we have some kids who are non-readers. And we're thinking more and more this year to bring in some volunteers to help them read more. But you don't necessarily have to know how to read to appreciate a book. And that's why we read to them. We have read aloud guests who are community people who come in and read to kids every single morning. We have a session in the morning called Harambe. And that's when the community comes together. Harambe is Kiswahili for, let's pull it together. So every morning from 8:30 to 9 o'clock, we invite a community person in, to read a book, to the kids. And what we're trying to get across to them is everybody should read. So we invite the janitor to come in. We invite a minister to come in. We invite, a teacher to come in. We invite lawyers. We've had so many varieties of careers of people who are in the community who want to come in and read. And that tells our kids that everybody should read. Everybody needs to read. We give them books during the summer so they can build their own library. CDF gives us enough books, and we get enough books through them and Book Harvest. So there's just so many things.
How many pages are these books normally?
It depends on reading level. For our level 1 children are K2 or kindergarten through 2nd grade. So they're typical books. They're not too long. They're age appropriate books. For our older kids, which are probably 4th, 5th, and 6th grade, those are chapter books.
Okay.
And so basically CDF chooses age appropriate books that kids can relate to and read and appreciate when they develop that reading curriculum. So kids, there are, we have experienced books on self-empowerment. They've read books on treating your neighbor right and being kind. There are books on things that are happening in community. I know there was one book that kind of stood out to me, was it last year or year before last, that really, spoke to a kid about someone was killed in their community, through gun violence, and how you're supposed to, how do you kind of look at that? Because that's a hurtful situation for a kid. So there's a wide variety of various topics that relate to themselves, that relate to their families, that relate to their community, that relate to the world, that they can read about. And the books they can relate to, because oftentimes the people in the book look like them. Okay. We primarily, even though the program is for everyone, we primarily serve Black and brown kids, and that's what they find in those books. We've had kids through our program who don't speak a lot of English. So there are some Hispanic characters in the books. So there's just a wide variety of choices, of books that kids can choose from that they can relate to.
You got me excited.
I'm glad.
I'll have to come out there.
Yeah, come on over. We're going to be at Epworth United Methodist Church again this year, starting on June 23rd, and the program starts at 8:30 in the morning. We're also in partnership with Durham Public Schools because they provide breakfast and lunch. So shout out to DPS for providing lunch and breakfast for our kids. But the program starts at 8:30 and we're there up until 3 o'clock. So basically what happens in the morning is they are involved in the curriculum, in the literacy curriculum. They're reading books and doing dare time, drop everything and read. They're doing Harambe. They're doing all those things in the morning. Around 12 o'clock they break, and then oftentimes once a week we take them on field trips. Okay. And then as we said, we invite people, different people from the community to come in and offer various kinds of activities to them. And then everybody leaves at 3 o'clock.
When do you incorporate like a round table discussion?
With whom? With kids or with
the kids, the community?
Well, Harambe is the time for kids to talk.
Okay, there we go.
You know, so there's an opportunity. There's there's a time when you can do announcements. ANN with a little OUNC CEMENTS. Announcements. So everything is kind of put to a cheer or to a chant. So kids know that if they have an announcement, that's the time, where we all do announcements. We do, we praise kids for, things that they've accomplished. Family night is the time where they can speak, but also when their parents can speak.
Okay.
And then at the end of every single day, we pull staff together in the afternoon to kind of look at the day, to see how the day has gone. Did the day go good? Is there anything that we can do better for tomorrow? And that's the time for staff. So there are always opportunities for various people in the program, various stakeholders to voice their opinion about what's happening in the program.
I like that because I like to come out there and do a broadcast.
Oh, well, come on. We'd love to have you. We'd love to have you. Yes.
Get the kids' input, the community leaders' input, the staff's input, the interns' input, and just put it all together.
Fantastic. We'd love to have you, House. We'd love to have you.
When does the camp start and end?
Okay. This year, the camp is going to start on June 23rd, okay, and it's going to end on August 1st. So it's 6 weeks.
6 weeks. And when's the last day to register?
To tell you the truth, we're taking applications right now, House, but we've already got our 40 kids. It is full. So right now we are maintaining a waiting list, and that's why we need more than one program, because, and we need that middle school program back, because once people hear about it, and find out how great this program is for our kids, we're serving elementary school kids. So if we get you, let's say in the first grade, then your parents want you to come back in the second grade and the third grade and the fourth grade. So we have a lot of recurring students, scholars, we call them scholars, who come back to the program, and it doesn't leave a lot of room for new ones, but we consider each situation, individually, but we get a lot of kids who continually come back. So, and we run the program from kindergarten to 6th grade.
I like that. That's great.
On May 31st, we're going to have an information session and also a community fundraiser so that we can, reach that, that goal. So people who might be interested in finding out more about Freedom Schools and also want to make a donation, we invite you to come on out to Epworth United Methodist Church, 3002 Hope Valley Road, from 5 to 7. And we'll be there giving out information about Freedom Schools and definitely accepting your donations.
We need some money.
We need some money before June 23rd. Our kids are in need. And that's the thing that drives me, is that they're in need in everything. They're in need of nurturing. They're in need of everything, because we come to find out that kids are missing a lot of stuff, a lot of experiences, and we just want to expose them. To books, and to various cultural and community kind of things. They have a stake, in our community, and they're important to us. They're not our future, they're our present. And it's up to us as adults, because we haven't done such a great job up to now, to really educate our kids, and love on them and show them, what life is all about and where they fit in, to all of this, because they definitely fit in. So yes, I'm hoping some hearts are touched, and people will come on board and support this. And I'm not saying Freedom Schools is the total answer, but it's a fantastic start for our kids to be involved in a program like Freedom Schools.
What's your website? How did it get more information?
We are under Durham Cares. We are not a total independent entity. So our fiscal sponsor is Durham Cares.
Okay.
So the website is under Durham Cares, and I gave it to you, but it's www.durhamcares.org / Durham/CDF/Freedom/School, and you can find out more. I mean, if you just type in Durham CDF Freedom School, the website should come up. And there you can see a lot of the stuff that we're still doing, but also you can make donations, because right now we're in need of donations. We are definitely, and that's one of the reasons why I'm here, is because the community doesn't always know that we exist. And definitely, we need community support. We get the support, of the tickets and coming in and being read aloud guests, but we need financial support. In order to run a program, it costs about $100,000. To serve 50 kids. And that includes the training, that includes the field trips, the t-shirt, that includes everything. But as I mentioned, our participants don't pay anything. So it's kind of up to us to raise that money. And we've gotten all grants, nothing big. So we're asking the community, if you have a heart, for the children, and the youth in Durham, please donate. Also you can send donations to Durham Cares directly at Post Office Box 331, Durham, North Carolina 27702. But make sure you put a notation on your check that it's for Freedom Schools, because Durham Cares has a lot of different programs going on.
You can't beat this. You can't beat it.
Oh yes, I tell you, I got the bug, honey. I got the bug.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Bless you. Bless you.